Okay, so this lesson is just all triangle congruent proofs. Triangle congruence. And again, it all boils down to you need to be able to prove the triangles are congruent by side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, or HL. One of those ways. So you need the pieces of information to get to that spot because you're trying to prove triangles congruent. That's how you end it. So they give you information, and again, you'll see all these different proofs have different givens, and you just have to kind of piece things together. Now, what's nice about the first couple proofs on your homework is that they are reason-only proofs. So they are giving you the statements. So even if you don't know what you're doing, you should be able to piece it together. Now, I'm going to pretend like it's not a statements only or a reasons only proof, and I'm going to walk you through how we're going to do the whole proof, and hopefully they fall the same way. So BD bisects segment AC. Bisects means splits into two congruent parts. So AC is going to be split into two congruent parts. Well, here's AC. So E is what's going to split it into those two congruent parts. Next, BD is perpendicular to AC. Perpendicular means right angles. So that's why the right angle box is here. And then we want to prove that these two triangles are congruent. Triangle ABE and triangle CBE. So they're right next to each other. So they're going to have a pair of congruent sides. They're both going to have right angles. And then they share side BE. Now the question is going to be, should we use HL because we have a right triangle? Or are we going to say those angles are congruent? Well, look, the hypotenuses in this picture would be here and here, across from the right angle. Let me use that red. Right? They'd be across from the right angle, across. We don't know that they're congruent, so we're not going to use HL. So we're probably going to say those two angles are congruent and use side, angle, side. And that's the proof. Just walk through, talk to, thought about ahead of time. Because I know what bisects means, because I know what perpendicular means, and I know my 5 ways of proving triangles congruent. So let's see how they walk us through it. Okay, so they're saying that angle AEB is a right angle. Sure, that's from the perpendicular lines. So we find perpendicular lines from right angles. Same thing with CEB. That's this right angle here. Yes, perpendicular lines. Good. So now we're going to say those two angles are congruent. Again, we're not going to use HL. If we were going to use HL, we say those two triangles are right triangles. But we're going to say those two angles are congruent. And there is a reason that says all right angles are congruent. So there's our right angles. Now we're going to say that AE is congruent to CE. That was this whole bisects idea. So let's find a reason involving bisects and segments. A segment bisector divides a segment into two congruent segments. There we go. And again, it's because BD is the segment bisecting it. Good. There's our angle, there's our one pair of sides, and then BE is congruent to itself by the reflexive property, always and forever, like looking in a mirror. And now we are ready to say our triangles are congruent. And again, if you are at all confused still on why they're congruent, let me write down again that on this triangle, you have a pair of sides, you have a pair of angle, and another pair of sides. This is SAS, angle in between the sides. So our reason is SAS. The proof is complete. You may now submit. Green check mark. Where are you? I need you. I crave the green check mark, and I got it. All right, so now let me go find a couple other just general proofs that aren't just reasons only. Okay, so this is a good proof here. Notice in your given, it says that you have some perpendicular segments, and then they give you a pair of congruent segments. And you got to prove that these two triangles are congruent. So triangle ABC is this triangle. Triangle CDA is this triangle. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so perpendicular means right angles. So where do AB and BC meet? They meet here. That's right angle. Where do AD and DC meet? They meet here, right angle. So the question is, are we going to use HL, or are we going to have to say they're congruent? Well, let's read ahead. They give us that BC and AD are congruent. So BC is here and AD is here. Those are just legs. That's a leg, or just the side. So the question is, where are the hypotenuses? Again, the right angle points to the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the shared side. We are going to use that shared side because of the reflexive property. It's congruent to itself. So we are going to use the hypotenuses. And since we're going to use the hypotenuses, this is going to be HL. So this is an HL proof. So I'm glad I found it so that I could show you when you would use HL. And again, notice it's all about, are we going to have the hypotenuses? That's the idea. Okay, so I'm going to erase these writing and let's go right to it. So let's talk about our right angles first. So I'm going to say that an angle is a right angle, and that angle is going to be angle B, this corner angle. And again, it's because of perpendicular lines. I'm also going to say that angle D is a right angle, same kind of idea. That's because of perpendicular lines. Only need one letter because it's the only angle at those corners. So now we have to say that the triangles are right triangles. So now I'm going to classify a triangle. I'm going to classify triangle ABC as a right triangle, and it's because it has a right angle. And I'm going to classify triangle CDA, not a right angle. I'm going to classify, what am I doing? Getting click happy. I'm going to type a statement, classify a triangle. We're going to classify CDA as a right triangle, again, because it has a right angle. Okay, so I got my right angles. I had my given congruent sides. So now I have to say that my hypotenuses are congruent because they are the same side used in both triangles. AC, AC. That is the reflexive property. Good. And now again, why am I going to say these triangles are congruent? Well, I have the fact that they are right triangles, and I have a pair of legs, and I have the hypotenuses. So that's why this is HL. So I'll come over here. I want to say triangles are congruent. It was ABC and CDA. And this reason is HL. Just got to scroll down, and there's my HL. Oh, there's my green check mark. Love it. Submit my answer. Even bigger green check mark. I like it even more. All right, I'm going to do another video with 2 more proofs. Again, you can't get enough doing proofs.